A bowl of cherries in the middle of winter. These days we're getting more and more used to the idea that we can have whatever fresh food we want, whenever we want it. But at what cost? These cherries, for instance, have come all the way from Chile, and some environmentalists are now saying that it's crazy for us to transport food like this halfway across the world. And so I've been to Chile to find out how fruit from their orchards arrives in our homes. Another country, another climate. At this time of year, the cherry orchards of Chile are bathed in midsummer sunshine. For this developing economy, fresh fruit is a major export. And while they know that the food miles debate is raging in Britain, here, all of this is viewed as a simple matter of supply and demand.
Chilean cherries are arriving during the Christmas period. Does the housewife or does the consumer in the UK not want to receive these cherries?
Well, evidently they do, but because they do doesn't necessarily mean it's right that we do it.
This industry generates a lot of jobs. There has to be a balance between caring for the environment, social responsibility, and economic growth. I say we're a developing country.
Southern Hemisphere countries like Chile can send us summer produce in the middle of our winter. The orchards tucked beneath the foothills of the Andes have the ideal climate, soil and water supply. They also have plenty of affordable labour. The other good news here is they are producing and picking a product which is in huge demand. Last year in the UK alone, for example, we spent something like £65 million on cherries. That number is going up all the time. And here, that means essential jobs and much needed revenue. Despite that, some environmentalists insist that British consumers should at least hesitate before buying produce which has to be shipped thousands of miles.
As consumers and as citizens, we ought to go into the shop and think about buying fresh, in-season, locally grown food first. If we want to indulge ourselves, the cherries on the cake, perhaps occasionally, but our staples should be near to where we live.
So how do Chilean cherries get to us? Well, first they're brought by truck to processing plants like this. It's estimated that 500,000 workers in this country are employed in the fresh fruit business. And if we turn our backs on their produce, these are the jobs on the line. For people here, the work has been hugely beneficial.
I am operating a production line which helps me a lot. The money helps my family, and thanks to that I have my own house and I can pay for it because of my work.
The next step is getting the cherries to the port, a relatively short distance covered by lorry. But then the part of the process which is at the centre of environmental concerns. Most cherries are shipped in containers which must be refrigerated for the length of the voyage. No matter how green the growing and processing of food like cherries, nothing can change the fact that this place is some 7,500 miles away from Europe. It takes about 3 weeks for the ships, which also carry copper, paper and other commodities, to travel through the Panama Canal and across the Atlantic. For some, that's enough to say we shouldn't buy produce from places like this, but it is clear that if we make that environmental choice, the consequences for the people here could be disastrous.